Today, we're really digging into Malaysia's economy, where it's headed, and some of the big social initiatives Anwar Ibrahim has been talking about. You've gathered some fascinating details for us, and yeah, our job is to help you make sense of the key points, maybe some surprising bits, and what it all really means.
Exactly. It's a period of, well, significant change for Malaysia, isn't it? We're looking at the big economic picture, but also, importantly, what's happening on the ground to, improve daily life. It's a deep dive into how a country tries to empower its people, especially with all the global economic uncertainty swirling around. What's really striking is just the sheer range of policies being discussed, from like high-level economic plans down to specific direct aid for folks.
Okay, right. Let's get into it. So Anwar Ibrahim's been highlighting this transition since 2023, talking about the Madani economic framework. He's really stressing the need for structural tweaks, kind of lifting the ceiling and the floor of the economy at the same time, starting with good governance, he says. He wants people to feel confident, basically, that the economy is in a reassuring place.
Yeah, and that's the key question, isn't it? What's the actual evidence for that confidence? He did point to some pretty encouraging numbers. For starters, Q1 GDP growth was 4.4%.
Which is pretty solid.
It is. And then the initial projection for Q2 is even slightly higher, maybe 4.5%. And, he noted that's particularly strong given how shaky the global economy is right now.
Right, context matters there. What else?
Well, there's a World Competitiveness Index for 2025. Malaysia jumped 11 spots to 23rd.
Wow, 11 spots. That's a significant leap.
It really is. And he made a point of saying it wasn't easy. It took effort from, the public sector, private companies, workers, everyone. Then there's investment. Record highs, apparently. RM384 billion total. That's up 17% from the year before. He even name-checked projects happening in Johor, Selangor, KL, Kedah, Perak, Sabah, Sarawak. Basically saying, look, this is real stuff happening across the country.
Okay, and then the ringgit. That always gets people talking, often a bit nervously.
Yeah.
He tackled that head on, right? The idea that it's faltering.
He did, yeah, very directly. He argued it's actually strengthened over 5% against the U.S. dollar, hitting RM 4.23 today, July 22nd.
Yeah.
That puts it, he said, in the top 5 best-performing Asian currencies right now.
So countering the narrative.
Exactly. He specifically shot down those claims of it being at RM 4.50 or RM 4.70, saying those were old numbers. It's clearly an effort to manage perception with hard current data.
Okay, but here's the crucial part, I think. Despite the good macro numbers, the GDP, the investments, he acknowledges quite openly that data doesn't pay the bills, right? Lots of people are still feeling the pinch from the cost of living. So what does all this national success actually mean for, the average person on the street? What's the plan there?
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you make sure national success trickles down? He outlined quite a few specific efforts aimed right at that lifting living standards, tackling those daily struggles. First off, the job market looks promising. Unemployment's down to 3%.
3%.
Yep. Lowest in over 10 years, he said. And he mentioned 250,000 new jobs created in the last couple of years.
That's a huge number. That must make a difference.
You'd think so. It creates more opportunities, hopefully eases pressure. Then, wages. Minimum wage went up to RM 1700 back in February. But maybe more significantly, starting August 1st, all employees in those big government-linked companies, the GLCs and the GLASCs,
Okay.
all 153,000 of them will get a minimum just living wage of RM 3,000 a month.
3,000. That's quite a jump from the national minimum.
It is a big step for that segment of the workforce. Then healthcare always a big concern. They're tackling doctor shortages by adding 4,352 contract and new doctors this year, and poverty. He stated ending extreme poverty is a top priority. Said they lifted 150,000 households out of it by end of 2023. Now they're targeting the rest for this year, 2025. Plus, he's launching something new, Sejahtera Madani, this Thursday, involving government and companies working together to help the poor.
So it's direct poverty work, jobs, wages, healthcare. Are there broader support systems he mentioned, too? Ongoing programs?
Oh, definitely. The Rama Basic Assistance STR that's seen its biggest ever allocation. RM 13 billion benefiting 9 million people. That's a huge safety net.
9 million people.
It's massive. And the Social Welfare Department, JKM, got a boost too, nearly R1 billion ringgit for monthly aid to the elderly, disabled kids, poor families. Plus, agriculture got specific mentions. The floor price for buying paddy rice up to RM 1,500. There's a RM 500 subsidy scheme too. And for rubber tappers, the production incentives doubled to RM 3. These are direct financial boosts for key
It
groups.
really does sound like you're trying to cover a lot of bases, not just looking at the big numbers, but getting down to the community level. That engagement part seems key.
Absolutely. He kept talking about Madani initiatives at the grassroots level. It's about leaders actually connecting with communities, figuring out problems together. One really interesting example is Sashati Madani, giving RM100 to every village. He said it's a first ever.
1,000 ringgit per village. What's the idea there?
It's like seed money.
Yeah.
Villages propose their own projects, could be drones for farming, fish ponds, raising cattle, whatever fits locally. He said it's already generated like 8,600 local economic activities.
Huh. So empowering them to build something themselves, that's different from just a handout.
Exactly. Then there's Kampung Angkat Madani, adopted villages. That's grown from 40 villages last year to 200 now, building deeper support. And Sekolah Angkat Madani, adopted schools. Even with ministry funding, they're pulling in companies, banks to adopt schools near them.
So businesses getting directly involved with local schools.
Yeah. About 1,000 schools involved so far. It creates this partnership, government, companies, parents, kids, teachers, all working together.
Okay, but back to that cost of living concern. Even with inflation supposedly low 1.1% in June, he said, lowest in ages, people are still worried. What's the direct response to that ongoing anxiety?
Right, and he acknowledged that directly, said even with low inflation, the concern is real, and he feels they need to do more. So he announced several pretty big relief measures. First, this Sarah for All thing. This sounds huge. For the first time ever, every single adult Malaysian citizen, 18 plus, gets a one-off RM100 payment.
Every single adult.
Every single one. Through their MyCAD, the national ID. It starts August 31st, runs till year end. That's 22 million people.
Wow. How much will that cost?
An allocation of RM2 billion. And they can use it at over 4,000 stores. He did add, if the money isn't used, it'll go to vulnerable groups next year.
Okay, that's a very direct cash injection. Anything else?
Yes, quite a few things, actually. September 15th, that's a Monday, is now an extra public holiday for Malaysia Day. The idea is to boost local tourism, give families some time. The Wulan Rama, those affordable sales events, they're doubling the funding for that. Another RM 300 million, so RM 600 million total. Want them held more often everywhere before the year's out.
Making cheaper goods more accessible makes sense.
Then, tolls. Government's absorbing RM 500 million in costs to freeze planned toll hikes for the year. That avoids hitting people's wallets, especially on key highways.
That's always a relief to hear. And utilities, electricity.
Yeah, this was interesting. He said despite past subsidies, 85% of households will actually see their electricity bills go down starting this month, July, some by up to 14%. He specifically framed it as countering slander about rising tariffs. So again, pushing back with the positive message and some relief.
Okay, and the big one for many Petrol, RN95. What's the plan there?
This is a major announcement. He committed to reducing RN95 from RM2.05 per liter down to RM1.99.
Dropping below the 2 ringgit mark.
Exactly. Before the end of September. He acknowledged it costs the government more, but said it benefits 18 million drivers, motorcyclists, even young people, gig workers. But, and this is the crucial shift, that RM 1.99 price, only for Malaysian citizens using their MyCAD.
So targeted subsidy finally. Foreigners pay market price.
That's the plan. Moving away from those blanket subsidies, it ensures the benefit goes to citizens, though it's, a significant policy change that'll have implications.
Right, so quite a lot of immediate relief measures announced. Looking further out, what's on the horizon?
Well, the big one is the 13th Malaysia Plan that's launching July 31st. That should lay out the broader long-term economic strategy. And then he mentioned more new measures, plus the budget for 2026 are coming in early October. So it sounds like this is an ongoing process, continuous adjustments and planning into next year.
Wow. Okay, that was a really comprehensive rundown. We've gone from the big picture macro stuff, GDP, investment, down through social safety nets, these grassroots village projects, and now all these direct relief measures like the cash payout and the petrol price cut. It really paints a picture of, well, a government trying to juggle national economic health with the very real, everyday pressures faced by its people, as articulated by Anwar Ibrahim, of course.
It really does. You see this multi-pronged strategy laid out: minimum wage hikes, job creation, specific subsidies, community funding. It's all happening at once. It's quite a fascinating case study, really, in how a government communicates and implements its plan for managing both the economy and, well, public well-being at the same time.
Absolutely. So something for you listening to maybe chew on after this deep dive. How effective can this kind of strategy be in the long run? Mixing these big economic reforms with very specific, most immediate relief measures. How did that potentially influence both how investors see the country and how citizens actually feel day to day. It definitely highlights that constant tricky balance between national prosperity and individual struggle. Lots to think about there.